From Storm Tracker 6, this is Forecast First, sponsored by Auto Owners Insurance. Simple human sense.
For parts of the area, it was a very cold start to the day. Alma down to 25 degrees this morning. Mount Pleasant at 30, 32 for Lansing, and 35 in Jackson. We warmed nicely, but only in the upper 40s. We're still at 41 degrees for Lansing, 42 in Jackson. High pressure's overhead, which means very nice weather for tonight in terms of sky cover, but it is going to mean cold temperatures once again, as lows will again drop into the lower 30s. We do have a warming trend on the way and some rain to talk about as well. Now, if you're heading out early tomorrow morning, should be dry and temperature-wise around the freezing mark with mostly clear skies to start the day. Warmer weather for the weekend, then we've got maybe some snowflakes in the forecast. 6 News at 6 starts right now.
WLNS is here for you with 6 News at 6.
Nurses are marching on the picket line in Lansing tonight, calling for a new employment contract with U of M Health Sparrow Hospital. It's our top story at 6. Thank you for joining us. I'm Siobhan Klepfer.
And I'm Sherry Jones. This demonstration has not stopped work at the hospital.
That's right. It's a so-called informational picket meant to inform the public about the issue. Zachary Priest is there now joining us live with what the nurses have to say. What can you tell us, Zach?
Thanks, Sherry and Siobhan. Right behind me here, you can see there's a very energetic and loud picket line. And ever since I got here, there's been chanting, there's been yelling the entire time. Now, they're upset because these nurses behind me are currently working without a contract. And their last contract expired on October 30th. And one nurse told us that they want to educate the public.
It's nice to let the community know what's going on and what's going on inside the hospital, and that when we go back to negotiations, we can get a fair contract for everybody, and we can retain and recruit members to want to work here and help take care of the community.
So our focus this evening remains on our patients that we are taking care of here this evening. We do respect the union's right to do an informational picket. In fact, it's commonplace for these kind of events to happen during contract negotiations, but our focus needs to stay on our patients.
And people with U of M Health Sparrow Hospital here, they told us that this is not at all uncommon when it comes to contract negotiation time. They also let us know that the biggest points of contention are wages and how well the hospital retains nurses, which the hospital tells us that they're one of the best in the country at retaining nurses. Back to you, Sherry and Siobhan.
Thank you, Zach. Well, staying with health news tonight, some state senators are trying to protect reproductive health data.
Yes, the Senate Committee on Housing and Human Services heard a bill today that would restrict how businesses and organizations are allowed to share that information.
Now, there are companies and even smartphone apps that collect that kind of information from people to track things like pregnancy, fertility, and monthly cycles. Reproductive health care advocates are concerned that that kind of data can be used to restrict or even criticize women's health care choices. Under this bill, companies would need to get consent before collecting that data, would have to delete it after a certain amount of time, and could not provide it to government agencies in most circumstances.
Overdose deaths in Michigan dropped significantly last year, according to new numbers from the state health department. There were just over 2,800 deaths from drug overdoses in Michigan in 2023. That's a tragedy, but the number was down 5.7% compared to the previous year. It continues a downward trend in our state since a peak in 2021, and that's almost 5 times faster than the progress being made at the national level. The Health and Human Services Director credits the state's harm reduction efforts, like providing access to fentanyl and xylazine testing strips and naloxone, which blocks opioid overdoses. For information about these resources, visit our website, WLNS.com.
Over the weekend, Nazi protesters held demonstrations outside a theater group in Fowlerville and an American Legion Hall in Howell over a performance of The Diary of Anne Frank.
Officials on both sides of the aisle were quick to condemn those demonstrations. Our Capitol correspondent Tim Skubic got reaction from Governor Gretchen Whitmer.
You know, it's
The city of Howell is back in the national headlines. Last summer, some white supremacists paraded in downtown Howell shouting, quote, "We love Hitler, we love Trump." They were rebuked then by local officials. And now last Saturday, similar protesters showed up at the American Legion Hall in town, where a production of The Diary of Anne Frank was underway. Local officials again expressed their displeasure. Here for the first time, Governor Gretchen Whitmer checks in.
I think that some of the rhetoric that we're already seeing is really corrosive and very concerning, and as you see rallies like this and how the local community was really shocked by it, just tells you that we are wading into some concerning territory.
The governor denounces hate speech and reassures local and state residents that job one for her is to protect you.
And that's why I'm going to continue to try to make sure that Michigan residents feel safe, but hate speech and demonstrations to scare and intimidate fellow Americans is not something I take lightly.
Of course, all this comes as the governor confronts dealing with a second Donald Trump administration in Washington. And her attitude is, I've done this before and will find a way to cooperate again.
We have worked with the Trump administration before. We will figure out how to work with the Trump administration going into this last 2 years of my term.
Asked if the Michigan State Police would cooperate with the new Trump administration on the deportation of illegal immigrants, the governor did not respond. Here for you in Lansing, Tim Skubic, 6 News.
Thank you, Tim. A man was arrested with guns, drugs, and a lot of ammo in Jackson. The city's police and fire services posted this photo on social media after a police sergeant approached a suspicious person. Now, according to the department, the sergeant searched him and found a loaded pistol in his pocket, as well as dozens of rounds of ammunition, a syringe, and what police believe to be meth. The man was taken into custody.
Well, as the weather gets colder, kids throughout mid-Michigan are starting to need some winter gear to help them stay warm.
And we're asking you to help us make that happen.
Our annual Coats for the Community drive is underway.
That's right. We've teamed up with the Cristo Rey Community Center and other local partners to help people make it through the winter.
But it's not just coats. If you have scarves, hats, gloves, or any other winter clothing, you can drop them off right here at the station.
Or at Cristo Rey Carpet Studio in Okemos, your local Barry Amos Cleaners, or one of 3 Shaheen Automotive locations through this Friday, November 15th.
Coats for the Community is just one more way that 6 News is here for you.
From Storm Tracker 6, this is Weather First, sponsored by Auto Owners Insurance. Simple human sense.
I mean, it certainly felt cool outside today, temperatures in the upper 40s, but that was pretty close to average for this time of the year, and the overall trend is still towards mild weather. But even with that, there is some cooling we can expect in maybe late next week, cold enough for some rain showers to possibly mix with a few snow showers. And oftentimes this time of the year, we get the clouds that settle in. We call it permacloud. It gets cloudy and just stays that way. But this year, we've had lots of sunshine in November and had lots of beautiful sunsets like this. Our Pick Sun 6 winner today, Jim from St. John's, with some awesome color in the sky. It was gorgeous out there this evening as well. If you'd like to submit your sunset pick or anything weather related, just head to our website, WLNS.com/share and upload. 5-day rainfall forecast, because we're dealing with mainly rain. The next 5 days certainly will be all rainfall, but you can see the darker greens indicating a ½ an inch or more of rain accumulation, so pretty significant. It could be quite a soaking out there. Tomorrow night and into Thursday, rain's creeping in tomorrow evening, raining for the first at least half of Thursday, and then things begin to dry out as we head into the weekend. High temperatures are mild through the weekend. We'll climb into the mid-50s, maybe upper 50s on Sunday. Next week, we start to cool things off, mid-40s by next Friday, which is still a bit above average, but with the overnight lows in the 30s, it may be cold enough to mix those rain showers with a few snow showers late next week. Still some color in the sky tonight. A good-looking shot on the McLaren cam. We're at 46 degrees, almost made it to 50, not quite. 36 was the overnight low. This evening in Grand Ledge, temperatures are starting to cool. We're down to 43 degrees after a high of 48. Not a whole lot of wind out there today. Winds generally between 10 and 20 miles per hour for the wind gust. Beautiful shot on the Jackson cam. Temperature at 42 degrees. Today's high 48, made it down to 35 early this morning. And this evening in Hillsdale, our current temperature has fallen to 42 after a high earlier today of 48 degrees. A few other numbers around the viewing area: 43 in Charlotte, 43 in Mason, 44 in St. John's. It's all quiet with high pressure overhead, so no threat of any precipitation tonight. Tomorrow morning, we're watching clouds gathering to our southwest. Will become cloudy late in the day. And then tomorrow night, good chance of rain, widespread rainfall. Some of it could be locally heavy through early Thursday morning. Low pressure will start to pull further east in the afternoon, so showers will become much more widely scattered, but still can't rule out a few raindrops to finish out our Thursday as well. Here's tonight's forecast: 30 31, the overnight low with mostly clear skies. Tomorrow we'll start out with temperatures in the 30s and then warm into the 50s by late in the day. But the clouds thicken up. Rain moves in tomorrow night. Rain on the daytime hours for Thursday. The weekend looks okay. Just some clouds around. Temps in the mid-50s. Late next week, we're still looking at this system which may stall in the region, and assuming that happens, a chance for showers each day. Even next Friday, which is of course silver bells in the city, mid-40s and lows in the mid-30s. I'll work really hard as I can, I promise, to change that.
Yeah, get that out of there.
I know, but the system, if it does stall out, could just mean off and on rain showers for several days.
Okay, not freezing rain,
No.
not a blizzard. You know, that could be
40s
worse.
and
Good for you. That's right. She's trying to be at the positive.
40s and rain, I'm freezing.
Yeah, I know.
All right, David. Well, you know what? Thanksgiving is almost here, and 6 News is kicking off another holiday tradition this year, and we need your help.
Yes, we want to recognize remarkable women here in mid-Michigan who make a difference for their families and the community as a whole.
That's right. And to make a submission, just click on the Remarkable Women section of our website, WLNS.com, and tell us all about the remarkable woman in your life. We'll pick 4 women and profile them during Women's History Month, which is March 2025. You have until December 20th to nominate someone.